Blue Lock Chapter 333, titled Natural Born, has just released their officials. Let's go over it. So the chapter begins right where the last one left off, with Rin versus Loki, the battle of the tens. With the narrator saying, finally they clash head on. The Japan versus France number 10 showdown. Don't miss this moment of ego, as Rin approaches that of Loki. Rin, without a second's hesitation, nutmegs Loki and gets by him, but Loki was prepared for that, as he turns around and starts running towards him, instantly catching up to Rin and colliding with him, pushing Rin off of him and not letting him pass. Rin then sees an opportunity to shoot and does just that, with Loki being taken by surprise. And as Rin is about to shoot, Loki goes in to try to stop it, and once Loki gets close enough, Rin shoots, but is blocked by none other than Hugo, as the ball goes over the goal, and a corner kick is now needed, with the commentator saying, so close, Hugo's super block keeps France from conceding a goal, as the entire Japanese audience is up in arms over this, with Isagi Yoichi watching it all go down. As Isagi Yoichi stands there watching what Hugo just did, he says, for real, could it be that even now, that was just predicted? As he thinks about France as a whole, he says, reading Ren's trait of wanting to shoot while colliding, Loki limited the shot course and Hugo blocked it. No, it's not just that. Even the tactics that Blue Lock prepared, as well as our individual abilities, everything has been logically understood and grasped. As we see the players on the field for France, Isagi continues by saying, talents placed in the right place, bringing out 100% performance, an aptitude-based elite collective. With Isagi thinking to himself, can we win against France? Hugo then chimes in the next page and says, you guys are strong, Blue Lock. If you take the diligent collective-minded culture of Japanese football and mix it with the individualistic philosophy of everyone aiming to be the world's best striker, you create a hybrid team that takes the best of both the collective and the individual. Your coach is an excellent individual who has made that experiment a success. But this is as far as it goes. Talent 66%, environment 33%, luck 1%. As Hugo continues by saying, these are the ratios of the elements that decide a match. At least that's what I believe. But in Blue Lock's case, that's a team that's been barely winning by Isagi Yoichi pulling in that 1% of luck, right? As we see Isagi's goal during the U20 match and the final goal against PXG. Hugo then continues in the next page as Isagi looks on in absolute fright, saying, so we won't let a situation where that luck can happen. This is the ultimate way to crush Blue Lock. With Isagi saying, just try it, you big talking jerk, as Hugo responds, that quick irritation and snapping back at me is proof that I was right on the spot. As Isagi goes silent, Hugo continues saying, and also, your team has a serious Isagi Yoichi dependency. As we continue in the next page, Hugo's giving Isagi the same treatment he gave Nigeria by continuing saying, the Japanese team is currently growing on the premise of your endless new ideas. In other words, paradoxically, you are not allowed to stop thinking and evolving. If you stop growing, the team will collapse. That heavy pressure is creating impatience within you. That makes your play easy to predict and easy to crush. Besides, at the point where you're feeling pressure in situation, you're just not fit to be number one. Because if you were the number one, you should be able to joyfully enjoy this moment, where you are the center of the world, shouldn't you? As we look back to Isagi being terrified of being number one, and thinking about this whole thing before the France game, with the chain symbolizing the lack of freedom that he feels knowing that he's the center of it all. Hugo then continues by saying, in that regard, our Loki is the perfect fit, born with the world's best physical abilities, and never doubting that he will become the world's best striker. His mind and body are in perfect sync with his aptitude. He is a natural born number one. And I'm going to produce that. As Hugo puts up the number 2, saying, to see a view that couldn't be reached alone, I want to become the world's number 2, as this takes Isagi back, saying, huh? You, of all people, should understand, Isagi Yoichi. I don't mean second place. I'm talking about overseeing and manipulating the organization from the second highest spot, being the one who understands the number one better than anyone else, an equal being. And in a double page, we see Hugo with his ominous aura saying, come and be the number 2, Isagi Yoichi. If you live out your destiny as the number 2, Blue Lock can still become stronger. But if you keep chasing the dream of becoming the world's number 1 striker, as in the final page of Blue Lock chapter 333, Hugo says, Blue Lock will be destroyed right here. as the game is about to resume with Bachida kicking the ball from the corner, as Loki is looking to intercept and Rin is there to stop him, as well as Isagi thinking about what Hugo had said and Karasu being there. The narrator then says, "Declaration of destruction to Blue Lock Japan. How will they oppose the Aptitude Fatalists?" With the next chapter being called Time of Awakening, and there is no break next week. Now this chapter elaborates on the idea that Hugo had before, and Isagi understanding that he needs to evolve himself without the reliance of everyone else on Blue Lock. What Hugo doesn't realize is Isagi has the ability to adapt. So still having the mindset of becoming the world's #1 while still being able to take what Hugo has said into consideration is going to be Hugo's biggest downfall. Also, Isagi understanding himself and the curiosity within himself is another thing that needs to be taken into consideration, as he just started doing that in the Nigerian game. And this, more than anything, is the perfect environment to do that. All in all, this chapter was very interesting. At first, I didn't fully understand what Hugo was trying to say, but now that I've thought on it and let it sit, I actually get where he's coming from. There is a truth in the lie and some lie in the truth. I get what he means, but it is very flawed. His level of thinking has some reason to it, but also completely unreasonable. That being said, let me know what you all thought about Blue Lock Chapter 333 down below. I can't wait to see what happens next.